hopefully you remember from Accounting 1 that we have to, at times, run a trial balance. And the trial balance makes sure that our debits and our credits equal out, because that will be a really fast way to know whether we're out of balance. Fortunately, QuickBooks makes it difficult for you to force yourself to be out of balance. But there may be times still where you need to record adjusting journal entries for closing type things, for accrued expenses and things like that. But to view and print the trial balance, you're going to go to your reports menu, click the accountant and taxes tab, or I guess from the drop down, and then at the sub menu it will have trial balance, and all you need to do is choose the date range that you want the trial balance to run from, hit refresh, and print the report. Now, when we want to make the journal entries, we want to address, our prepaid insurance, the, prepaid rent, things like that have elapsed, and we want to make those entries. This is where we do that, and it is the Make Journal Entries window. And so you're going to enter your adjustment, and this is where you really have to pay attention to your debits and credits, because QuickBooks is really not going to help you unless, of course, you are out of balance before you hit enter. You've got to have the accounting knowledge to understand whether or not the entry you're making is correct, and whether your debits are correct and your credits are correct, because if you start flipping those around, it's going to be a huge problem to go back and undo in the end. And let's see. So to make your adjusting journal entry, we're going to do that from the company menu. And then you're going to give your journal entry an entry number. And then you want to place a check mark. There's a little box, and I'll show you when we get to the live version, that says adjusting entry. And your account number and the field, and then a little memo. When we did our journal entries in our prior accounting classes, you did a little explanation of what the journal entries for. And we want to do that again here too, just so somebody coming in later looks at that. And it may not be plainly obvious from the nature of the transaction what it was intended to do. So this gives somebody at least a fighting chance to figure out what our intention was. And as I say, debits must equal credits, and it will not let you save it if you are out of balance. It flat out won't do it. So if you're out of balance and you're mad at QuickBooks for not letting you save it, don't be. It's saving you. So you're going to stop here, and we'll go over to the live window, and we will take a look at the journal entries window. All right, so to find our Make Journal Entries window, we go to our company, and this is now telling us that QuickBooks automatically going to assign the journal number entries. I thought that was how it went, but you can certainly manually assign them if you prefer to do that. It's interesting, my software updated itself today, and I'm wondering if that's part of one of the updates that it did. And then what will happen is every journal entry that you make after that will automatically just default to the next number and the next number and the next number. And so, and it's important to make sure that is, and this is assuming if we had already been in business and we were going to do an opening entry. That's where it would be. So we would have, but if this is an adjustment, then we choose our accounts, and whether or not it's a debit or a credit, a little explanation. So this looks a little bit different than your traditional columns with the journal entries that we've been doing in accounting. But so you're going to have a minimum of 2 accounts that are going to be impacted here. You're going to have 1 or more debit accounts and 1 or more credit accounts, and they're going to equal each other. And then you're going to just, again, do your brief explanation. And This is where if this is something that's customer related, you can, or vendor related, I guess I should say, customer or vendor, you can make those, you can enter that information here from the drop down. And is this something that's billable? Now I put a customer in there. So now it will let me check whether or not. Why is it not letting me check that? Probably because I don't have any other information in here. But anyway. We can also do reports from here, transaction history, transaction journal, and entries. I'm going to here, and we'll just look at the trial balance as long as we're here. And so in order to get that, you look at your accountant and taxes, and you will see adjusted trial balance. Taxes. I should have said trial balance. And you may or may not have noticed this on the slide. So the trial balance you do before you do your adjustments. So you do your trial balance, you make your adjusting entries, and then you do your adjusted trial balance. Once you've done your adjustments for that period, you can no longer print the trial balance anymore. So then you just get the adjusted trial balance for that period. And so we'll go back over to the slides and talk about some reports. In addition to a variety of user-oriented reports, QuickBooks also allows you to create your own financial statements, which are particularly helpful, especially if they're accurate and correct, to provide to somebody who's looking to lend money to you, or if somebody wants to buy your company. Now, we had just gone through how to get to the adjusted trial balance, but you'll also want to be printing your journal and general ledger reports as well. And we do that through the accountant and taxes menu that we were just in. We were over in the live version, and you just select the report. You enter a date range that you want the report. You've got to hit refresh once you modify that date range. Otherwise, it's not going to update your data until you hit refresh. Now, when it comes to printing your journal report, you may not want to print every single journal transaction. That could be potentially voluminous. So this is an opportunity for you to use the filter feature. When you're in your journal report, you can modify it, and then you can choose the filter tab. Once you get to the modify screen, it has these 4 tabs here at the top. You choose filters, and then this is where you can filter to only have, for example, your adjusted journal entries for that particular accounting period. Here is a copy of your general ledger report, which is going to show all your transactions recorded in any of your windows. I may be blocking some of that with my little picture here. And so, as we talked about, just as a review, you print your trial balance and take a look at that. You then make your adjusting journal entries, and then you're going to go back and you're going to print a second trial balance. That's going to be your adjusted trial balance. And so in order to distinguish those, you are going to want to make sure that you name them adjusted and unadjusted so that it's obvious when you're looking later. As the slide here says, you can no longer create the pre-adjusted or unadjusted trial balance once you've made those journal entries. So in order to change the name of the report so that you can clearly distinguish your adjusted from your unadjusted trial balance, back in that Modify Report tab, you click Header and Footer. And then you can change any one of these things that you check, but this one in particular, you can change to adjusted trial balance. And then hit OK. And so in terms of financial statements that we can prepare, you're going to have your profit and loss, which is in our GAAP accounting terms referred to as the income statement, what they call profit and loss report. But that is your traditional income statement. The balance sheet they call a balance sheet report. And so you're going to go to, from the report menu, now you're going to go to the company and financial, and it will let you print either detailed or summary reports. The summary reports are handy because they're just kind of a snapshot. The detailed reports can get pretty lengthy. So depending on your purpose, you may want to choose the summary or the detailed. And so I'm going to actually just hop over. Yeah, I'm going to hop over to the live version. So here we are, and we're going to go to reports. We'll go to company and financial, and then you'll see, and they call it profit and loss, but it is your traditional income statement. There are also a variety of other kinds of reports that can be printed that would be kind of management type reports, I would say. Then we get down here to your balance sheet. And you can also print a statement of cash flows. And as I said, you can do a standard balance sheet. We don't have any data in here. And again, the nice thing about printing these reports is that while they're at least on the screen in the native QuickBooks format, that you can hover the cursor over the dollar signs, and you can actually drill down into the numbers to get back to the basic, root transactions behind all these numbers. And we talked about making your adjusting journal entries report, journal report, things of that nature. And so we will finish up with registers. QuickBooks has a series of registers that you can look at. Any balance sheet account will have a register for it. So your asset, your liability, or your equity accounts, there'll be a register that you can look at. And it's going to look similar to a general ledger. And I most often use these registers. I look at the bank accounts this way. This is the view that I use when I want to look at checks written and just sort of scan through. This is also what I go back to when I'm reconciling the accounts, but that's another subject for another day. So in order to if you want to see a particular register, you go to your chart of accounts list window, and then you double click on the account and it will show you the register. And we'll go over and do that in just a second. They are not available for income and expense accounts because why? Those are not balance sheet accounts. Those are income statement accounts. So again, when we look at what our balance sheet accounts are, they are asset accounts, they are liability accounts, and they are equity accounts. And so you can see some quick reports from those accounts. And so we will mosey on over and look at those. So we're going to look at those. We're going to go to our lists and our chart of accounts. And I'm going to leave this kind of minimized here so that we can see all the parts. Now, if I want to go to a particular register, and so just because this is the view that I'm most used to working in, is the bank account. So I will double click on our bank account. I only have one transaction in here, sadly. So I don't have a whole lot for you to look at. But now I can do a quick report from here if I want to do that. I can also edit the transaction. I can print it. There's a go-to, and it allows you to basically search and find particular transactions based on the filters that you put in. Bank feeds, we're not going to talk about now. And so I'm actually going to close this, and then we will go. So there's quick reports you can get to that way. You can also get to the quick reports just from the chart of account list down here in the reports menu. If you just click on the up arrow, or I guess it's a down arrow, but for some reason it goes up. The account that's highlighted up there, it will let you choose the quick report for that. So if we went to a different one, it would give us that one. So we'll just do that because we're here. So that's a quick report. And as you're doing your transactions, when you're doing your case problem, you'll be able to go in and see these. And once you create some entries, there'll be a lot more for you to see. So I don't have a whole lot here. But anyway, that concludes the Chapter 4 video, and good luck with the case problem.